What's going on, everyone? This is Tyler Alexander with Darren James and Associates, broker by eXp Realty. I'm joined here today by Jeff Ard, who is a parish councilman right now in District 1, and he is running for parish president for the entire Livingston Parish. So thank you for joining me today,
Right.
and glad to have you. So I've known Jeff a long time. He was my baseball coach back in the day, and grew up with Jacob and everything. So I'm glad to have a little bit of time with you today to go over a few things, a few questions, and I know we're approaching the election and getting very close.
4 weeks.
Absolutely. Getting very close. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up, Jeff. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. That way, people kind of get an idea of who you are. And
all right. Well, I've lived in Livingston Parish my whole life. I've been married to my wife for 28 years. We have 2 kids, Jenna and Jacob. Jenna is a critical care nurse at Oshner's, and Jacob's a process technician for promotional plastics. We have a beautiful granddaughter, just turned 5. That definitely rules the house when she's there. I work for MMR. I'm a site manager. I've had from 200 employees down to 20 employees. I've run projects from $2,000 to $20 million. I've done estimating, planning and scheduling. I write procedures and policies. I do subcontracts. I've done contract negotiations. All of this type of stuff has me ready to be the parish president, because a lot of the stuff that the parish president does deals with all of those type of things.
Absolutely. That is awesome. So kind of rolling into a few things, this is kind of more of a general question, but I know, Livingston Parish is a very close-knit community. We're not like, Ascension's very big, Baton Rouge is very big. When you talk about Livingston Parish and, the Denham Springs, Watson, Walker, Holden, Independence, all these areas, what, if I could ask you, what does Livingston Parish mean to you? What would be your answer on that?
I mean, it's home. It's home, and it'll always be home. We have a great school system, which is the reason people come here. It's our number one reason that they come here. We're considered a bedroom community in Livingston Parish. We're a bedroom community to Baton Rouge and Ascension. A lot of our people work in the plants, but they live in Livingston Parish. With our school system and the safety that our law enforcement provides for us, everybody wants to be here, and as a Christian, it's hard to say, no, you can't bring your family here for safety. So all we can do is try to say, hey, we have to have an orderly fashion on how to do this. And that's what my job's going to be.
Awesome. That is fantastic. That's summed up very well. I'm a lifelong resident of Livingston Parish, so I can definitely attest to what you're saying about that. So kind of rolling into the next thing, what is your reasoning for running for president?
Well, I never really had intentions on this when I first got into politics. But, my initial run as a parish councilman was because they built a huge subdivision in my backyard. I was living on Buddy Ellis, and anybody knows that area. It's overdeveloped. Yes. And, I sold and I left, and I said, I can sit here and complain about it, or I can stand up and try to do something. So I ran for council. We started changing all the ordinances. We made them a lot more stricter for developers. That's going to be better to help protect our citizens that live here now instead of the ones that's coming in the future. And then as I just really started getting into all this, I started noticing, who's next? When President Ricks is ready to go, who's the next guy? And what I saw was we need someone to bring in that new technology type of thinking by using technology. I do that in the plant world. I tell everybody I started out old school. We were handwriting estimates with pencils, and now we're on computers and we do everything through technology. So I've seen both worlds. I know how they work, and we need that very badly in our administration for the parish. We need to get the benefits of technology, and I feel like I'm that bridge. And it's just kind of led me to wanting to run for parish president. And, I've got 12 years before I turn 65, which if the people would have me for 3 terms, it would put me there. And I can take the backside of my career, bring everything I've learned in my industry, bring it to Livingston Parish, and serve my people and my community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is fantastic. It's crazy hearing, all the ideas and everything, because you see it, I guess when I got into real estate, being in Livingston Parish and living here for so long, you don't see really what goes in on the back end of, the political side of, when it comes to traffic and housing and all that. You don't see it until, luckily with real estate, I've gotten in and I see that side of it. And so it's awesome to see, the changes that could possibly be coming, in the near future to Livingston. We're growing very rapidly, very rapidly.
Yes, we are.
So hopefully we can get something to keep up and continue this great parish. So let me ask you this: what is so if you were to get elected president, what is I know it's probably a lot, or maybe not a lot. Give me two things that priority to you that you would change in Livingston Parish for the better.
First thing we need is a parish-wide drainage plan. And the number one thing is right now we have 4 drainage districts. 3 of them are funded, which pretty much covers Watson, Denham, and Walker. They passed the tax, they're funded, which leaves 2/3 of our parish is in an unfunded drainage district. We have no dedicated money in them areas. And that is where the other 3 drain to. So if we can't start getting that fixed, it does no good for the ones above to have their water flowing through their districts, because it's just going to hit a wall below them. Right. So we have to get communication going between them 4 districts. I've always had a plan of taking someone off of each one of them boards, putting them on what I call a super board, let them start having a quarterly meeting where they can at least communicate on what canals they're cleaning out, so that if Watson starts cleaning out Beaver Creek that runs into Coyell, then Walker could go on and do their portion of it, and we could have it clean from top to bottom, at least through these districts. We're going to have to try to come up with a plan on how to fund the other 2/3. I think there is a plan out there. That drainage district has worked on some stuff, and I'm openly wanting to work with them to fix this problem. So the drainage plan is number 1. Number 2 is a close call between, we have a problem with animal control. We have a problem with traffic. The biggest thing with our traffic issues is most of that state. And I say this a lot on the campaign trail. These state representative races are very important to our parish. They're very important. People need to really listen to what these people are saying that's running for these seats, and make sure they make a great, educated decision on who's going to be sitting in them seats, because they're all going to be new, what we call freshmen, guys and gals sitting at that Capitol, and they're going to be dealing with people that's been there for 20 and 30 years. So they already know how it works. These guys, ladies do not. But we have some major projects that need to happen. 4-H Club, we need an intersection. Also, we need to widen 4-H Club from Bass Road to 190. We need to finish Jubin extension. You got to finish Jubin Road to 190, and then there's a Jubin extension that'll get it to Lockhart. We need to widen the bridge in Walker. We have 2 4-lane roundabouts on either side, and we have a 2-lane bridge to cross. Right. We have to fix that. And there's some other projects, but the majority of our bottleneck happens at I-12 at the Amite River. Right. Yeah, and it's because everybody's getting on at one intersection. Jubin helped a lot when we did finally build it, but there's no easy way for people to get to Jubin. Right. And that's what we have to create. So that's some of the top things. The other thing is going to be employees that work for the parish. We have a lot of them that are ready to retire, which means whoever wins will have to come in with a team. I mean, right away, you're going to need a team. And my biggest thing that I will bring to that is accountability and transparency with the public. We need to have a better working relationship with the public.
Absolutely. That is awesome. That's a great answer to that. Now, this question, I don't know, this is kind of bouncing off that. If you were to get elected, what are some things that are in place right now that you would support and kind of keep, that you wouldn't change into your own thing, if there is some?
Well, I think we have a great finance director. She does a good job. We haven't had any findings in I think the last 3 years, which is pretty awesome. Most of the people that are there, there are some great people there that we need to keep. I'm just the type of guy that I'm going to come in and say, hey, this is how I want it run now. And as long as they're doing that, I'm good with it. So there's a lot of people that I do want to keep. That experience means a lot to our parish. We have a big thing in zoning that we're working on right now. Hopefully that's implemented by the time the next administration takes over. And I've been dealing with zoning from the beginning. So it kind of puts me where I understand what got us to that point. I understand how important zoning is. And we need to make sure that that continues. The biggest thing that could hurt our parish is somebody comes in after this election and just says, get rid of zoning. We're not going to do that. We have to continue that, follow that, that path. And people just need to realize zoning's not the fix all. It's not going to fix everything. It's just another tool that we can use that can help us control the growth of our parish. So employees, zoning, that's two things that we have to keep. We have to make sure that we can work on them type of things and fix it. I think we probably need to look into our equipment. I come from an industry where it's better to just have good equipment where your employees aren't spending half their day working on the equipment before they actually do the job. But I mean, we do have a lot of good things in our parish, but most everything needs to, as I said earlier, it just needs to be brought up to date. Right. We need to update a lot of things, and I'm that guy. I want to be the guy that does that for our parish.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit, obviously I'm aware of it. Maybe for the people that don't know, I guess for one, what a moratorium is. And for two, I know, you put a moratorium in place for the new construction and everything like that. So kind of explain, I guess, first what a moratorium even is to the people that may not know. And then also what is the reasoning behind putting that in and what could it benefit doing that?
So I guess the best way to explain a moratorium is it's a temporary pause. So what it does is it just stops whatever the moratorium is for. In our case, it's development. So we actually have a moratorium that stops all developments 10 lots or more. If you're doing 9 lots or less, you're still good to go. Commercial is still good to go. Doesn't affect commercial. So what we want to do is make sure zoning is brought into law legally. It's something that we can stand behind and enforce so that we can protect the people that live here and now. That's what the moratorium is all about. If you go read it, it's for 160 days or until zoning is implemented. Where we got come up with the number of 160 days, there will be a new council that takes over in January. We made sure that moratorium went to their second meeting. That way they come in their first meeting, they get their feet wet, they figure out what's going on. The second meeting, they can make the decision, do we need more time or is zoning ready to be brought into law? So the moratorium just basically pauses everything and allows you to fix the problems. I'm not really a big fan of moratorium because where in life can you hit a pause button? Right. Because things are coming so fast at you. But this is definitely an issue that we have an opportunity that we can do that. And I think it was very beneficial for the people and the parish to do this moratorium right now. And I think we wouldn't have needed it if we would have known how to actually bring zoning into law. That's where we messed up at. It's not that our maps are wrong. We just didn't bring it into law following the state law. And we have to kind of go back. We have since hired a professional that does this for a living. And hopefully the elected officials will get out of the way and allow this guy to do what he does for a living. And he should make it right for Livingston Parish.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. So do you think, with this moratorium, or maybe not even a moratorium, all the new construction that's going up? I know you mentioned, I lived on Buddy Ellis. I know there's new construction on Buddy Ellis. It's kind of everywhere now. And it's crazy, back 2015 when I graduated, Watson was all woods. There was I remember celebrating when we got to Walmart my junior year. Like it was like the biggest thing. But seeing just in 8 years how much this community has grown and it exploded with all this new construction and everything, everyone moving in here. When it comes to the traffic side of it, I know you kind of touched on that earlier. Do you see possibly something where schools could get overcrowded or the traffic can just get too much to where we got to start expanding? Like, what is that?
So, schools are overcrowded now.
Right.
But look, schools have been overcrowded in this parish since the 80s. Right. That's something that you're always going to try to keep up with. And I've said it before. The only way you stop that is quit having kids. Right. It's just when you have 4 kids. Each one of them are going to have kids, and then each of their kids are going to have kids, and it just continues to multiply. And we just have to keep providing school for them. We've looked into, we've talked to the professional about impact fees to help traffic, to help schools, to help drainage. All of our major problems that we have as an administration. Same thing. Impact fees are not the fix-all. It's just another tool that can help. But unfortunately, the schools is something the school board has to figure out. The only thing we can really help them with is try to control where development happens. So if the schools are overcrowded in Live Oak, we can tell a development we can't do it. But that developer might say, hey, I'll build you another building at your school if you allow me to build this development, and that's the type of things we need to start sitting down with these developers and making sure that we're not going to allow you to impact our community. But if you're willing to help us fix the problem, maybe we can sit down and work something out.
Absolutely. That's great. So that kind of answers most of it. I guess to kind of wrap things up, with me being a citizen of Livingston Parish, and anyone that's going to watch this video, what are citizens getting with you as if you are to be elected parish president?
And someone you can approach, you can talk to. I'm an open door guy. You've known me for a long time. I will sit down, but I'm brutally honest. Yeah. If I tell you I cannot help you, I'm not just lying. I'm not just saying that to get rid of you. But if I can, I will. Part of it is going to be transparency with the people. I've said this earlier. I want to create a website where you can go see where your tax dollars are being spent. If you want to know, okay, what roads are being paved in Livingston Parish? Well, look, they're paving a bunch of roads down in Marpaw. Well, how often do you from Watson travel to Marpaw? So that's for you to just be able to pass by and see it in your vehicle is slim to none. But if I have a website where you can go to it and see, oh, look, they're paving roads in Marpaw and Springfield and Albany. So my tax dollars are being spent for Livingston Parish. We could do the same thing with our drainage canals. You'll be able to see where the work's going on because, we get calls all the time. Man, I've seen that truck sitting on the side of the road all day long. Yeah, because the guy was up in the woods cleaning out the canal. So just because you see a truck there doesn't mean someone's doing nothing. Now, there are cases where there's people sitting in their truck not doing nothing. I'm not trying to cover for them, but we need to show that, hey, here's where your tax dollars are being spent. But I am definitely a very approachable guy. I talk to people. I don't hide my number from people. I communicate the best that I can. And that's going to be my biggest asset I think I give to the people is that they can call me. Awesome. And they're going to get me. They're not going to get a secretary.
That's fantastic. That website is insane. I never even thought about that because I've always wondered. I know hear people talk about where my tax dollars going and stuff like that. With me being as young as I am, I'm so involved with technology, and I just never. That is a genius idea. That can go through to where everyone can access and see. Everything that's going on, the improvements in the parish, where your money's going. That is a fantastic thing. So kind of tell everyone when does early voting start?
Early voting starts September 30th, runs for a week. The actual election is October 14th. So it's coming fast. It's been a long campaign. We started back in February, and it seemed like it took forever to get to this point, and now it's coming fast. So I hope that I can get people out there, give me this opportunity. Biggest thing that I can tell you is I promise you, I will go to work every day. I'm not going to hide from work. That's all I know how to do is go to work, solve problems. I will not embarrass this parish. I will work for the people, but I only serve one person, and that's the God above. And that's me, and I need people to get out and vote for me and give me that opportunity.
So that is fantastic. And where can they go to vote at in there?
So early voting, September 30th, we have 2 locations. One is the new tax assessor's building in Livingston, which is by the courthouse. The other one is I think they call it the Walker Denham branch right there at Eden Church Road.
Oh, yeah, library.
At the library. So that's the 2 locations where they can early vote. And then on the 14th, they just have to go to their voting precinct.
Awesome. All right. Well, that about wrap things up, guys. This was Tyler Alexander sitting down with Jeff Ard for running for parish president. If you guys need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Jeff or me. I know you can find Jeff's number pretty much anywhere on everything.
Yep.
Same thing on my number. So I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll stay tuned for the next video.
Awesome. All right, bro.
Okay, great, man.
Yeah.